So I have some huge things to talk about today, but I'm going to talk about this first as it's pretty funny to me, and you'll see why soon. Taylor Swift debuts floral Da Vinci gown at songwriter induction. And floral Da Vinci gown just so happens to equal 216, 84, 2016, also 84, 74, the big 250, 162 with a portal. It happened on the 162nd day of the year, 6/11, 81. 81st day of the year is 322 Skull and Bones. Well, do you remember that Toledo shooting from a few days ago? One of the suspects in the shooting just so happens to be named Kanye Taylor, or Kanye Taylor. Do you remember what Kanye West did to Taylor Swift many years ago? I mean, that's blatant as all hell. And that is what cracked me up. They pronounce it as Kanye Taylor, but really, it's Kanye Taylor. Very obvious coded name here. And this guy was arrested on June 10th, a day before Taylor Swift was at those awards in New York City. I'm legitimately surprised I've not seen anybody else mention this, because that is just in your face right there. Brilliant names, let me tell you. The other suspect was LJ Crisp Carr. And Kanye Taylor, or Kanye West and Taylor Swift's first names together in gematria equals 666 Fibonacci. Kanye West infamously interrupting Taylor Swift's award win to shout out that demon Beyonce. And Taylor Swift is also currently being sued over her song Showgirl. Showgirl just so happens to equal our 111 and our 666. Anything that equals 111 ordinal will be 666 Sumerian. Anything that equals 111 reverse will equal 666 reverse Sumerian. The infamous film Showgirls was released September 22nd, 1995. Now, going from that date to when Swift was at the Songwriters Awards in New York wearing the 216 gown, a total of 11,220 days, or 1122, JFK, death date. I don't believe Trump is getting out of 2026 unscathed. Now, on the same exact date, Seven was released. Remember this one with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow, whose head winds up in a box? Don't forget that Gwyneth Paltrow named her daughter Apple. And this scene here is from Seven, after they have discovered the Greed murder. That's Richard Roundtree there. And listen to what he says here.
They have the very best men on this. This will be the very definition of swift justice.
He says this will be the very definition of swift justice. So, another Taylor Swift reference there. Way back in 1995, if you can believe it. Though no surprise with her very obvious connections to the LaVey family. And by the way, the Vegas showgirl who is suing Swift is named Marin Flagg. Very important name right there that will come up later in the video. Now let's get to even more blatant as hell news. As it says, 12 were killed in skydiving plane crash Sunday morning in Butler, Missouri. Butler, where Trump got his ear clip. And this happened on Trump's birthday. Not only that, Butler Memorial Airport, where the plane took off from, is located at North Orange Street. Trump, the Orange Man, And for some reason, that doesn't list the actual full address. It is 1413 North Orange Street, Butler, Missouri. 11 skydivers and a pilot died in the crash of a private plane on Sunday in Butler, Missouri, aircraft operator Skydive Kansas City said. So, of course, we have a Kansas City connection in here. The weekend that Disclosure Day released. Disclosure Day, of course, with Emily Blunt as a Kansas City meteorologist. Well, right off the bat, I want you to see that the address equals not only 228, you know how important that number is, it also equals 84. This happened on Trump's birthday. Again, I don't think Trump is escaping 2026 unscathed. 1449 in reverse Sumerian, which is the 1219th composite. Remember 1219, what happened to Leah Palmerado in a very Trump-coded story. In fact, I'll do a recap of it here in just a little bit. And that 77 is something very important too, as I've been watching Montagraph's channel for well over 15 years now, and he's come up with a pretty interesting 711 code. One that connects perfectly to this news story. Now remove the Missouri acronym, and we get 223. Emily Blunt, who plays the Kansas City meteorologist in Disclosure Day, was born on 223. Not only that, but we get 74, the big 250 this year. 200, the 200th day of the year is 719, Trump's reverse birth date. Our 66 twin number, 911 in Fibonacci, and 829 Latin. Remember that August 29th is Judgment Day in Terminator 2. The Trump family disappeared on August 29th, 2016. A story that is 100% Trump-coded. I think the O in Trump is there to signify Ohio. And, of course, August 29th is 9/11 on the Julian calendar. And speaking of Disclosure Day, just the address with street typed out, 612 Latin, Disclosure Day's official release date. Don't forget that Kansas City equals our 888 beast system number. Also 122, which is May 2nd, a huge date this year. In fact, the address for the airport as it's shown on Google, with just the ST instead of street typed out, is also 122. Now, Butler, Missouri is in Bates County. Remember, Anthony Perkins famously played Norman Bates in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Born on 4/4/1932, died 9/12/92. And Perkins' wife, Barry Berenson, born April 14th, 1948. But when did she die? September 11th, 2001, at the World Trade Center, or so they say. Because you and I know that there were no planes on 9/11, but she was said to have been on one of the planes. But if there were no planes, what happened to her? Who knows? That is my biggest question about 9/11. What really happened to the people who were supposedly on the airplanes? Barry Berenson was a real person. I saw her in Cat People, released on 4/2/1982. 4/2, of course, that huge date. That is 162 days before 9/11. The date where Keanu Reeves had his girlfriend Jennifer Syme sacrificed in the year 2001, 162 days before 9/11. Remember Neo's passport. No way that's coincidence. And here it says she died in the attacks as a passenger on American Airlines Flight 11. I've gone over this before, so I'm not going to get into it here. I'm just showing you that it's interesting that this happened in Bates County, and Norman Bates, there is an airplane connection with Anthony Perkins' wife. And what did I just say? Anthony Perkins, aka Norman Bates, died on 9/12 in the year 92, and Bates County equals 9/12 in reverse Sumerian, also 145, a huge number. Shannon Doherty's final appearance on Beverly Hills 90210 was on the 145th day of 1994. That connects to Trump in a big way. Remember that Shannon Doherty died the same day as Trump's Butler ear clip, 7/13. Not only that, but the 145th composite is 188. That is Michelle Trachtenberg's number, 110. And the 145th prime is 829. You know all about 829 because I literally just showed you. Bates County, Missouri, 173, 47, 178. All three of these numbers connect big time to Trump. 1068, the Golden Gate Bridge just turned 1,068 months old in May. 1068 is the 888th composite. 888, our beast system number. Butler Memorial Airport, 261, 108, 74. I also want to show that from Trump's Butler ear clip to the 6/14 Butler plane crash, 1 year, 11 months, 1 day, or our big 1111 number. Also 100 weeks in 1 day, or 101, aka 26. Bates County Sheriff Chad Anderson, 322 Skull and Bones. It's also the 81st day of the year, Michelle Trachtenberg's reverse birth date. And down here in primes we have 1011, which is Michelle Trachtenberg's birth date, the day that leaves 81 days remaining in the year. 1011 is 9 months, 11 days into the year, the 284th day of the year. 1521 in Latin, which is the 39th square. Remember that Michelle died at the age of 39. The 26 composite is 39, 2026. And that 133 is also important because Emily Blunt, the Kansas City meteorologist, in Disclosure Day equals 133 as well. Also, make note of that 822 because we're going to talk about that later. Oklahoma City, 133 also. Remember the OKC bombing. Remember how many days dead Timothy McVeigh was on May 22nd. Hantavirus as well, 822 again. And government. 11 skydivers dead, along with the pilot. 11 skydivers equals 195. Trump's ear clip in Butler was the 195th day of 2024. This happened at the Butler Memorial Airport. 84 there as well. 1260, which connects to the Leah Palmerado story. Include the and one pilot, get 122 yet again. Like I said, really big date this year. 5-2, 320, 254-2, like two 254s, which would be 9/11. 10/19, you're backwards 9/11. Skydive Kansas City, the company responsible for the plane. 217, the year of the Firehorse start date. The weapons number. Weapons released on 8/8 last year with Gladys Lilly, who is a perfect 4-cipher match to Donald Trump. Amy Madigan played her. Amy Madigan born on 9/11. Amy Madigan is also in The Day After, a movie about nuclear war set in Kansas City. And when did The Day After air? Remember, that was a TV film. November 20th, 1983. Remember Erica Franzwey, born on 11/20. 11/20's prime number is 9011, or just 911. And Dennis Jacobs, the acting airport manager and Bates County Emergency Management Director, told Reuters that the airplane took off around 11:20 a.m. No coincidence. That's also 16:20 GMT. Aviation safety expert Jeff Gazzuti was also interviewed. What's interesting here? 416. Read it backwards, it's 6/14, Trump's birthday, the date of the crash. And another interview was Sergeant Justin Ewing. 1086, the Beast System number. 181, that's the 42nd prime. 197, that can be like 719, Trump's reverse birth date. It says Federal Aviation Administration records reveal the plane, a fixed-wing, single-engine aircraft built in 2010, is registered to Sky High Aero LLC, based in Jasper, Tennessee. And take a look at what Sky High Aero LLC equals. Our upside-down 91101 number. Also 1056, which Donald J. Trump also equals. 57. Michelle Trachtenberg died on the 57th day of the year. Seattle Slew died on the 127th day of the year, which was 57. The 138th composite is 180, like Flight 180, which exploded in Final Destination, released on 3/17 in the year 2000. And Butler, Missouri's area code is 660, or our 66 twin number. An NTSB spokesperson said the aircraft was operated as a Title 14 Code of Federal Regulations Part 91 skydiving flight. What do you think this equals in gematria? In that all-important Latin cipher, 2840 or 284 with a portal. Remember that Michelle Trachtenberg was born on the 284th day of the year, and she was to be the tower sacrifice to open the hell portal. Michelle, absolutely key to everything going on. And they described it in the news as a local airplane, which equals 119, our backwards 911. As you can see here, had to make special mention of that local airplane, not a commercial airline. Skydive Kansas City was founded in May of 1998. 98, of course, the 666 year, founded by Chris and John Hall. Chris and John Hall gives us our 156, the number that connects to 911 twice, as the 156 prime number is 911, and 156 itself is the 119th composite, the backwards 911. On their website, they list bucket list experience, and that equals 226, or 2026. Of course, Michelle Trachtenberg died on 226. 11/6, the upside down 9/11. 3/14, Pi Day. Remember, the Pi Day eclipse was last year, 17 days after 226, when Michelle died, and she was born 17 days before an eclipse. Another 77 down there in Chaldean. It says Bucket List Experience's mission is to help make safe skydivers. Looks like they did not succeed there. Chris started skydiving at the age of 18. Our 666 number. Little Engine Ventures acquired the business from Chris in 2024 and added it to their Bucket List Experience cohort of drop zones. Little Engine Ventures 284, Michelle Trachtenberg, born on the 284th day of the year, 10/11, 9 months, 11 days into the year. And the company's acronym LEV equals 39, the age Michelle was when she was sacrificed. And this is not the first Butler ritual they have done this year. Remember, on April 28th, this happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. A murder, unaliving of oneself, and the couple were married in Ohio. Again, that was on 4/28, the same day that Charles III gave Trump the bell from the submarine that had 1944 on it. 1944, the year of D-Day. This year, on May 29th, a movie about D-Day was released. And then on 6/12, Disclosure Day, which obviously connects to this Butler story about the airplane. In fact, if we go from that date to 6/14/2026, it's a total of 47 days. Trump, of course, the 45-47 president. 1 month, 17 days. 1 month, 17 days into the year is 2/17, the start of the fire horse, the weapons number. And 1/17 is 3/17 on the Roman calendar. The backwards 7/13, Trump's ear clip on 7/13. Final Destination, about a plane explosion, Flight 180, released on 3/17 in the year 2000. And 4/28 is a very significant date. Also, don't forget, not only was there that Butler ritual on that date, not only did Trump receive his gift from Charles III on that date, but also James Comey was indicted for his 86-47 Shell Beach thing from last year. And again, why is 4/28 such a big date? Because it's another variation of 284, and again, Michelle Trachtenberg was born on the 284th day of the year. Michelle Trachtenberg again died 2/26/2025. A code for this year. She was in the Gift Tower Sacrifice episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer on May 22nd, 2001. Ata means gift. In fact, not only does it mean gift, but it equals the same in gematria as gift, as you can see here. And before I go any further, note that Michelle was also in this movie 17 again. Remember, she was born 17 days before a blood moon eclipse and died 17 days before the Pi Day blood moon eclipse. So, 17 again, coded. Everything about Michelle Trachtenberg is coded. And that, of course, brings me to another huge deal. Remember that the very first ever solar Saros eclipse was on June 14th, 1360, exactly 666 years before Trump's 80th birthday. 666 for the Moonchild Trump. Again, it was the very first one ever. And don't forget that 4/13 this year was 666 years since the Black Monday Hellstorm. Remember that Black Monday Hellstorm equals 216 in gematria. Remember Trump's calm before the storm. And again, Charles III gifting Trump that bell had major significance. In the gift, Michelle is the tower sacrifice for glory to open the hell portal. The portal can only be closed when Dawn's blood is stopped. Otherwise, it will destroy the world. Buffy comes to realize that she shares the same blood as Dawn, and thus by sacrificing herself, she can save her sister and close the portal. Earlier in the season, Buffy was told that death is your gift. Thus the title of the episode. And again, Trump being taken out is not a bad thing for him. Because just like Buffy, death is Trump's gift. And that's why it was symbolic that Charles III gifted him the Trump bell. On 4/28, no less. And let me show you how the James Comey indictment connects to Trachtenberg. Because if you add 8647 days to Michelle Trachtenberg's birth date, you land on Donald Trump's 63rd birthday. Now, as if it landing on Trump's birthday isn't evidence enough, if we go from Trump's 63rd birthday, when it landed on 2/4/28 this year, when Comey was indicted, when Trump received his Bell gift, and when the other Butler ritual occurred, it's 202 months, 14 days. 202 plus 14, of course, is 216 again. And if we go to 8/4 this year, from his 63rd birthday, it's 205 months, 21 days. 205 plus 21 is 226. Michelle died on 226. Now remember, I told you to keep the 822 in mind. Solar Saros equals 822. Also our 137. Add eclipse, it equals 206. 2026. And also equals 253. Remember what happened to Charlie Kirk supposedly on the 253rd day of 2025. 253 is also the 198th composite. 198 equals President Trump. And it is also our beast number. Now I want you to know why I know I'm onto something here. Because if we go from Trump's 63rd birthday, 8647 days after Michelle Trachtenberg was born, to 8/22/2026, the 1-year anniversary of Irina Zarutska's murder in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's 6,278 days. Remember, 9/11 will be 9,111 days old on this date. What is 278 plus 6? 284. Michelle Trachtenberg, born on the 284th day of the year. She was in The Gift, the Memphis Tower Sacrifice episode, aired on 5/22, and Irina Zarutska, who died on 8/22, was born on 5/22, exactly 1 year after that episode aired. Trump Bell equals 119, the backwards 9/11, also in Latin 5/17. 5/17 is the 137th day of the year. And Michelle debuted in the Buffy episode called Buffy vs. Dracula, and that connects to Charles III because Charles III is related to Vlad the Impaler. Vlad the Impaler is who Dracula was based on. Now the next episode was all about her character Dawn, and it was titled Real Me. Now include Real Me with Trump and get 142. The 142nd day of the year is the date of the gift. And then after Buffy finds her gift in the gift and sacrifices herself, her friends selfishly bring her back in the episode titled Bargaining. Trump with bargaining equals 666 Latin. And I showed you how the series finale was titled Chosen. Trump chosen, also 666 Latin. Now, if you include Trump and her last name together in a gematria calculator, you get 250 reverse, the big 250 this year. And remember the film Fearless that I decoded in relation to Charlie Kirk. Remember that it was released the very day after Kirk was born. Remember, Jeffrey Gordon, who was decapitated in the plane crash, was born on 4/28/1950. A Trump-coded character here. Remember, his address was 6120 Mission Street. And his driver's license expired 4/28/95. Of course, 6120 is a backwards 216, or it can just be 6/12 when Disclosure Day came out. George Bush Sr. birth date. Trump Fearless equals 1068. Again, the Golden Gate Bridge is currently 1068 months old, and in Fearless, Jeff Bridges has a scene in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, and 1068 is the 888th composite, our beast number, beast system that is. And Trump 1944 Bell, our big 137, our 142, Memphis founding date, the date of the gift, Irina Zarutska, birth date yet again. But that is all for now. I have a lot more to talk about that I did not have time to get to in this video, including Trump's UFC claw and this 7-11 code that Montegraph has been talking about. So more on that tomorrow. All glory to God, and thank you for watching.